Time. Time, in all of its magnificence, remains ever-changing and relentless, yet proves to be the one element which humans have yet to grasp control of over the years. Sure, we can manage time, but to truly manipulate time, reverse it, fast-forward it, or even pause it, remains out of control to even the most intelligent being on Earth. People often lament over the loss of time, saying how they are unable to complete their task due to the lack of time. The fundamental flaw in this is that everyone, regardless of their status in life or the job they hold, only has 24 hours a day. It doesn't matter if you're the president or a janitor. Nobody has the luxury of having more time. What we do have, however, is the ability to manage time and make full use of it instead of simply wasting it away and complaining later on in the day that we don't have enough time. For instance, throughout the workday, we may find that work gets mundane and in turn start searching for other more entertaining activities like viral videos or browsing forums. But the 5 minutes break would soon turn into a 30-minute break, and before we know it, half the day has passed us in a flash. Of course, once it reaches the end of the day, we find ourselves panicking and trying so desperately to make time to finish our work. On the other end of the spectrum, a survey on 267 vice president level or higher executives at companies in the Fortune 500 showed that the typical corporate leader has an extremely strict schedule that is planned as far as a week in advance. Each day is an extremely tight schedule with fixed allocated time for very specific objectives such as emailing clients or having conference meetings. Every single moment in time is not wasted, and even daily meals are cramped into commuting sessions. Of course, I'm not saying that you have to write down every minute of the day, but this example shows that if you want to be on the top, you have to schedule and plan things to use your time effectively. One of the main reasons why some people have poor time management is because of their perception of time. Time perception is a fixed field within psychology and neuroscience which sees to the subjective experience of life by oneself. Although another person's perception of time cannot be directly understood as each person's own experience may differ, one can objectively view the behavior arising from proper time management and learn to adapt accordingly. Because of this phenomenon, it is common that different cultures across the world have their own perception of time, leading to a variety of work ethics. In fact, this has led to cultural clashes because one's culture's perception of time may very well be seen as a waste of time in another culture's eyes. An example of this would be the West's perception of time. The American concept of time often sees time as being literally like money. Westerners are people of action. They seize the opportunity in the present and plan their day in a linear fashion. This can be seen from a tightly packed schedule of the typical corporate worker in the more developed westernized countries. Missing deadlines are almost considered a taboo, and failure to be productive is deemed a sin. On the contrary, workers in the East may not pay too much attention to time as they view events in a more cyclic manner and tend to make decisions based on the future events. In this way, they are often in conflict with the West, as the West may tend to make hasty decisions as any time wasted is a failed opportunity. The East don't see time ticking away as a wastage of time because any hasty decisions made in the present would eventually come back to haunt them in the future. Time isn't always linear to the Asians, but a cycle that should be well reflected on before any action is taken. Likewise, Asians are all for punctuality, but they wouldn't mind sacrificing their time in order to respectfully complete a business transaction. Leaving early for a meeting just because you're running late on your schedule is seen as unacceptable to Asians and disrespectful to both parties. Despite these differences in perspective across cultures, A common consensus can be made about the perception of time. That is, time not invested in your future or for a common goal in your life is essentially time wasted. If you're constantly saying that you lack the time to do a certain task, you've either been undisciplined with your time management or perhaps merely taken a negative perspective on the things you're doing. With that being said, let us take a look at some ways we can use our time more productively every day. 1. Review your time spent daily. Start to log your daily activities as you go along your day, making sure to include every minor detail from traveling to bathing time and eating. If one invests time into a product which is intangible, it will benefit him in ways that would make his time more valuable in the future. For instance, you may think that your time is being wasted on activities like brainstorming for more efficient work processes, but the useful ideas may actually help save a lot more time in the future. If, on the other hand, you spend 2 hours a day catching up on the latest episode of Game of Thrones, perhaps you should cut down on such activities and instead use the time more wisely on personal development. 2. Prioritize your work. This golden rule of time management holds true throughout the years because it eliminates your tendency to procrastinate and do other unimportant things. By finishing the work that matters most to you, you'll effectively be able to do other unimportant things in your free time towards the end of the day. Personally, I would write a list of the most important things I have to complete the day before to better manage my time. It would also be wise to spend your mornings waking up earlier and doing the most important things first because you'll be more productive in the first part of the day. Henceforth, you wouldn't be able to give yourself excuses for not having enough time at the end of the day. 3. Fill gaps of time doing unimportant tasks. There's always a time and a place to indulge in your guilty pleasures, but you don't have to set time aside just to partake in the activity. One could easily download videos into his mobile phone and catch up on his favorite television series while traveling to work, or play his favorite mobile game when going out for lunch. Or you can check out that mail or social media while waiting for a meeting or staying in line to queue. Time. We never really have as much of it as we would like, but we always have more than we realize. Stop using the lack of time as an excuse for the things you could have done and start making more effort managing it. Remember, time will forever remain free and priceless, but once you've lost it, you can never get it back. If you have any questions about areas of life where you're struggling or want to make improvements, please tell me in the comments below or write to me at Facebook or Twitter, and I'll make a video about how best to approach it.